It is a new day for Gilded Vale. We'll send a letter to the Duke. Explain how things are going to be. You made the right choice, brother. We'll turn this village around. You made the right choice, brother. We'll turn this village around. Forgive me, friend. There is much to do, but we will not forget what you've done for us. And now we can stride out the doors. Gilded Vale is a great guardian, you. I hear your name spoken often. Be proud, my friend. Mind yourself in here. Mind yourself in here. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. We are allowed to take all this. Anything we want. Awesome. Awesome. The joints are fringed with rust. The emblem on the breastplate is of a tree with broad, heart-shaped leaves. So all these bastards will have just, like, absolutely destroyed me. Silver forks and knives are gnawed with tarnish. So this is the second level where we're poking out but didn't dare stray. Hello, hello, hello. Embarrassed wisdom says. We'll do our duty, whoever sits with us. This is why I didn't want to go the violent carve my way through road. Because they will change sides quite happily. Which is a bit awkward, but it's fine. Yeah. Hell's the new boss, same as the old boss. Except this one isn't, like, murdering people on a regular basis. Just his dear old cousin. No, don't steal. Well, they won't take me take things from that particular rack. Ah, but this is the way to the vaults then. And yes, we have slain Raedric and his entourage right in front of his wife's
I shall be
corpse.
quiet as a calm sea, which is not very quiet.
Sorry, not a good sneak skill then. What the hell, though? Dusty old ledgers record the taxes paid on farmsteads in Gilded Vale as far back as 2632.
Let's see what's in here.
Nice.
That'll do it.
Thanks. You should take this. Ooh, spell defense bonus, nice. We will take this. Fine hatchet. Pistol! 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 And potion of infused with vital essence. Ooh. Look! That's a very nice amount of cash.
You must gather your party before venturing
Cash
forth.
money, cash money. Aha! It is the secret passage
Nothing will slip past me.
into her rooms, which is a bit ooey. Oh shit! Sorry. Hi, Autobots. Oh my god, I miss you. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Hi. 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 How are you doing? Nice to see you. Oh, let's pass through. So he said I can take whatever's in the vaults, but I can't actually find any vaults whatsoever through this whole place. So I think he might have been bullshitting me. Which was very unfortunate, because I could use the money for my own keep. Oh. The Wood Part 4, Headrest Rebellion. I gotta go, have a brief break. I will be right back. Beep. Hey, cat. What are you doing? Climbing up on the table? Come here. Ah, gotcha. Ah. Poof. You disappear. The Deerwood, Part 4, Hadret's Rebellion. The rural communities loved Admeth Hadret, considering him the best leader they'd ever had. That was the guy, I think, that was promoted to General, or whatever the title was, to take over when the they had the fights. They eventually settled to peace with the locals. In Eodir, the Ferkening, the first king, rankled against his usurpations of imperial authority, but no longer had the necessary power to truly undo anything that had happened. 2 years later, in 2664 AI, the Ferkening found allies willing to explore the ruins against the treaty conditions and plundered them for their artifacts. This was done discreetly at first, but they eventually became careless. The agents were discovered and arrested, but there was no evidence pointing back to the Ferkening. Admeth, suspecting the truth, used Glanfathan Brishelgwyn, mind hunters, the progenitors of Bunday ciphers, to investigate the matter further. With this method of interrogation, he discovered a chain of evidence all the way back to the Firkening. While he investigated, many rural communities suffered retaliatory attacks by Glenfathans, of course. Armed with this new information, Admeth worked with Gullivan Medhra, the new leader of the Glenfathans, and the rural communities of the Deerwood to prevent the Firkening's agents from entering the ruins. There was a back and forth between the two groups, both sides engaging in various political, economic, and military maneuvers to try and gain the upper hand. The Firkening was at a disadvantage in this game, though, as he preferred to assert his authority without causing an uprising. Eventually, Admeth had enough. He convinced 7 of the 9 elves to join him, and they severed their allegiance to the Firkening, declaring themselves independent and decreed they would govern themselves, just as the Vailian republics did 20 years prior. Oh shit. Admeth told the people he had tired of policies that made the nobles rich, while putting the people of the Deerwood at risk. He declared himself a duke, again modelled after the Vailian republic's governing structure, and called the Deerwood a free palatinate. Thus began the War of Defiance in 2668 AI. The war lasted 4 years and caused countless casualties, including Admeth himself. The Deerwoodans, with their Glenfathan allies, were able to persevere. Glenfathan astrologers, alongside the Deerwoodan forces and members of the ad hoc Knights of the Crucible militia, won the Battle of Defiance Bay, which became the last battle of the war, and left Deerwood free from Aedirian imperial rule. 7 of the 9 Earls of Deerwood survived, and, united in purpose, signed treaties with the Firkening of Aedir. The war gave the Deerwood a greater sense of unity between the citizens and their Glenfathan allies. Hadret was revered by both groups, and the Deerwood enjoyed for the first time a nationwide fellowship of independence, perseverance, and sacrifice. Yenwood and Quinsrun were dissolved and incorporated into the surrounding earldoms, leaving 7: Hellsgate, the Grasp, Tenfirth, Norwek, Coldwater, Ashfall, and Belric. New Dunrid was named Defiance Bay and would become the seat of power for the Nord Duke in Belric Reach. The new Duke's rule began in 2672 AI. Whew. St. Waidwen, farmer become god! Nice. With the mention of the name Waidwen, most folk think only one word: Godhammer. While this event echoes through the ages and is still felt years after the destruction of Ivandir Bridge, Waidwen's humble beginnings belie the powerful force he would grow into. Waidwen lived an unassuming life in a remote area of Red Ceres, the son of Volus farmers. He toiled in the fields alongside his father for 22 years, until his father's death. The farm then fell to him to run. He considered selling, but had no other skills upon which to draw, so he set on the path of Volus farmer as well. Nothing of note has been recorded in Waidwen's life until 4 years after his father's death, when he was 26. One day, while working the field, Waidwen's life was irrevocably changed. In his words, night was falling, the fingers of dusk already gripping the sky. The sun had dipped behind the world's edge, and stars were peeking from beyond the shroud. The day was still, and darkness had blanketed the field. I placed my last harvest of the day into the collection pile, from when behind me arose a brilliant light. I turned, fear in my breast, knowing not what could have caused such intense radiance. Behind me stood a blazing figure, resplendent in glory. Its white flesh glowed with a luminescent radiance, its head a blinding ball of light, brighter than the highest sun of mid-year. I averted my gaze, afraid I'd be struck down for daring to gaze upon such a creature. A sudden peace washed over me, sweeping away me fear, leaving my troubled soul tranquil. A loving warmth wrapped its arms around me. A voice spoke to me as I stood, transfixed, trying to both see this glorious being and avoid its dazzling scrutiny. "Fear not," it said to me, "for you are chosen above all others. You will be the light to bring about the rebirth of an empire." It then held out its hand and bestowed upon me a vision of power, such that I could scarcely contain it. Waidwen, dishevelled and dirty, stumbled into his village the next morning, telling all who had listened about the miracle that had happened in his fields. Aethys himself, he claimed, had appeared to him. He was to punish the Aedirian governor for leading his people into ruin. A way would be provided, and those faithful who helped would be blessed when the divinity manifested. Villagers ignored him, convinced the loss of his parents had broken his mind, naturally. But Waidwen continued to preach of the power of Aethys and the corruption of the governor, eventually earning him the ire of the locals. His confrontations with the villagers hit a turning point one day in mid-autumn. A crowd had gathered around Waidwin, jeering him and telling him to leave the village. The Vorlus crop that season was particularly light, and the villagers blamed Waidwin, saying that he had angered the gods, particularly Aethys with his blasphemy. They backed him into one of the withered fields, yelling at him to go. Accounts of the inciting action are hazy. Some say a stone was thrown, others say he was pushed. Others still say he simply tripped over a dry root sticking from the ground. Regardless of the cause, Waidwin landed, face down on the ground, the villagers standing over him, laughing. Enough! A voice, not Waidwin's, boomed across the field. Waidwin looked up at the crowd, his eyes glowing with a blinding white light. He stood, but did not stand. One moment he was on the ground, and the next he was standing before the crowd, who cowered before him. You dare deny me! The voice spoke through Waidwin's mouth. You dare refuse my servant! Waidwin's arms raised, beginning to luminesce. You dare require proof? His arms went out to his sides. Never ask again! Let you be burned in the light of the new dawn! There was a flash of light from Waidwin's eyes and hands, and the entire field sprang to life. The once dried and brittle plants became lush, full, and verdant. The crowd was silent. From somewhere in the back came a call of, Praise Aethys! And they all fell to their knees in front of Waidwin. Farmer turned god. So this is where the next war came in. Possibly the last war, I think. In which the followers of Aethys all gathered behind Waidwin, marched on everyone, and destroyed. God damn it, fake man. That's awful. Alright. Ooh, hello. Hey! Handy. Oh. Not handy. Not handy at all. Actually, that's completely unhandy. God fuck damn it. Let us go to the Temple Scriptorium, where we definitely didn't kill many people. Whoops. Alright, where didn't we explore in here? We didn't explore down this way. We did once, but that was when I died, so... Ooh. We can now happily pick up the loot that was left behind, free of the concern of stripping the bodies. Happily, these guys stripped the bodies for us. Very kind of them, very kind. I'm going to replace... no. I'm going to replace your ranged weapon with a gun. There we go. You can use a hatchet, sure. I guess. Why not? You don't really need 3 item slots, dude. I don't know why you have them. Spell defense bonus. We'll slap that on our cleric. Yeah. Ooh, got more stairs. Oh shit! Jackalites are not happy! Ah shit, they don't care that someone else is new. We did sort of kill all their brothers and sisters. Oh dear. Oh very dear. Oh dear. Whoopsie! Let's get the fuck out of here! Switch weapon. Oh, you got nothing. Oh, I can't give you something. Right, and turn on your AI, please. Right. Ow, 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 ow. Hit him, please! Thank you! Alright, I need you casting Blessing, you casting something over this way, you knocking down, no, healing up. Knock down this one. Yeah, that one was pretty over the top. let's get them off their nice little Healy bubbles. Alright, it's centered on people. Oh shit. Sorry, did I just die?
Oh, not like this.
Yeah, I just died. Fuck. Okay then. Ah. Sorry, don't go piss off the priests. They're still not happy that I killed all the members. Let's just get out of here. We'll just go out the front door and leave. We've saved the people. That's good enough for me. Let's go rest somewhere, so I can actually get my fucking health back. Hey guys, thanks for not killing us and us killing you and all that jazz. This really works out for the best, I think. Ooh, stuff. Bit of meat. I'll take it. The air in the stable is heavy with bat dung? It's a stable for bats! How adorable. Oh god, the front here.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
It's not quite as like Ooh, hi guys. It's enough to give that feeling of apologies. I'm on duty. So you think Kolska's a forgiving type? It's not quite the same as the original OG. You must gather your party before venturing forth, but it's very close, and I appreciate it. Events to speak of. Anki! Purchase. Done. Good. Let's head back to the Gilded Vale. Yeah. Go to the Gilded Vale, dump off that sword that we found. Just lying around somewhere. Sell that off, and we should be able to buy some more stuff with the money. With the proceeds. I'm tempted to arm myself up. That's probably the better idea to do. Just start arming myself up with enchanted weaponry. But I want to do the keep thing more. It's so fun. I like building. Oh, and we can then go down into the temple. Alright. Buy my
Well
shit.
met, friend.
I'd like to sell you this really expensive sword that you seem to be able to afford for some reason. And also this axe. Sword, this, that. Those pelts. Yep. Yeah, 1,000 gold. That seems like a fair price. Thank you very much. Let me sleep here in the cheapo beds. Security reports that Bleak Hollow bandits will attack the stronghold in 3 days. Oh, shit. Cool. Okay. Yeah, no. We'll definitely manually resolve that later. Building shit. I think we might have to wait for the keep for most of the stuff. We've got enough to build something. We can repair the courtyard pool. Yes, good. Oh, the mankeeper's already in progress. I can only build one thing at a time? Son of a bitch. Alright, 2 days, 20 hours. That's fine. It just means that we won't be able to do much more travelling than going straight there. Go actually see how long it'll take. 1 day. Alright. We got the time. Let's go dump ourselves into these stairways. Water, the sustenance of life.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
Oh, fuckers, why are you so slow? Get in here. I'm just gonna change all this shit again.
Hey.
You can use
Ready when you are.
abilities.
Following your lead.
Just don't waste shit.
Yes?
What?
There we go. Hi, come back. I'm gonna try and do this again. Don't worry. We've left one corpse in here, but now we know better, so it's fine. There's less likely to have casualties now. Ha ha ha. Oh, dear. Okay, first of all,
Let's see what lies this way.
Huh. Hello, bells. 3 bells hang from the stone protrusion that runs along this wall. Years of dust and grime coat the metals. There is one large bell at the center, flanked by 2 smaller ones. Some of the bells. They appear to be fully intact. They're made of a thick iron and look very heavy. There doesn't appear to be much out of the ordinary about them. Oh, please tell me they'll still have the thing. Journal. Biography. No. Visions. No. Encyclopedia. Notes. No. Sheet. Buried secrets. Wotan, full of compartments. Yes. I've seen some memory of spinners within the temple, or a memory at least. In this memory I record an Eothasian rite involving the ringing of bells. The first and last of these tolls, apparently, is that of the right hand, which has a distinctive warped tone to it. Well, let's try right, middle, right. No, we're gonna need 4. A strange hush falls upon the room, muting the sound of the bells and the eternal drip of damp stone alike. And then a sudden, dissonant toll sounds from the bells, so loud and piercing that you are compelled to cover your ears. And then, at last, silence once more. Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Oops, shit. To his grace, I write to implore... And the rest is gone.
Let's see what's in here. That'll do it.
It's the hunting bow. Books! I'm hitting that that lore overdose here. I'm starting to get to that point of I don't want to read the books. But I do, so let's actually get over that. The Great Western Stag. One day, Aethys was sitting on a wall, watching a cat play in the sun. A crystal, hung in the nearby tree, had fragmented a sunbeam and scattered small motes of light on the ground. They danced around the cat, sliding over him as they frantically battered at them. He spun in place, following one as it rushed past him, and leaped onto it, trying to pin it down. Aethys smiled, amused at the animal's tenacity. The cat landed on a spot, placing his paws over it, only to watch it flitter away again. Aethys watched the cat's tail twitch and slap at the ground, annoyed that his prey could not be pinned. "Why must you tease him?" a voice said from behind him, accompanied by the crunch of sandals on gravel. "I merely bring the dawn," Aethys responded. "I don't stoke the hunter's heart. That's your responsibility, isn't it?" "True," said the second voice, "but neither do you quell it. If the hunter could not see his prey, would he still hunt?" "So philosophical, Hylia," Aethys said, and turned to greet the 2 gods that approached him. "Have you come to debate the parallel between sight and desire?" He gestured to the wall, inviting Hylia and Galawain to join him. They sat in silence, watching the cat, who continued to hunt the sun, fruitlessly swatting at another mote and then rolling onto his back. "I have created the ultimate prey," Aethys said, finally, breaking the silence. "It can be tracked, it can be followed, it can be seen, but it can never be caught." Galawain laughed lightly. "You don't agree, Galawain?" Aethys asked. "While it's true that your creation is elusive, it hardly can be considered the ultimate prey because it can never be caught." He paused, his brow furrowed in thought. "If that mote of light had substance, the hunter could subdue it. Otherwise, it's merely a dream, truly a fruitless endeavor." "All creatures spend their lives chasing fruitless endeavors," said Hylia. "It is a way of mortality." Galawain laughed again. "I could make a living creature of flesh and blood that could never be caught. I can make your dreams a reality." Now it was Aethys' turn to laugh. Ha 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 ha! You propose turning a fruitless dream into a fruitless reality! How is this any better? Ah, life spent in the pursuit of an unattainable goal far exceeds any other. But you just said no one could catch this creature! This is not attainable! Galawain smiled. Humanity has surprised us before. Indeed, it could surprise us again. It will create a great white stag, and I will set it free in the world. It will have grace, resilience, and tenacity. It will exist solely to be pursued for all its days, and it will never be caught. It will serve to inspire the hunt for generations to come. All those who wish for glory will invoke my name. All those who hear its story will ask for my blessing in finding it. Alia shook her head and threw Galawain a bemused look. I do not believe this is possible, so I, too, make an offer. To the person who catches this stag, and they will catch the stag, I will bestow upon them its grace, resilience, and tenacity. Thrice blessed they will be. They will ask for my blessing on the hunt, so that they can obtain my boon. Galawain and Hylia took up arguing whose name would be invoked more when the hunt was on. Aethys sighed, a small smile playing at the edge of his mouth. He stood and looked to the sky. The sun had already started to hide itself behind the mountains. The cat, long ago tired of the stalking of the moats, had fallen asleep behind the tree. He turned and looked at the other gods, deep in debate, and sighed again. I merely bring the dawn, he repeated as he made his way down the path. It's up to you to see what I reveal. Interesting. A book of verses. This small volume of verses and psalms is somewhat battered, suggesting it used to be carried on someone's person. The pages are dog-eared and worn, and the gold threads which form the title of the book have begun to fray. I have a feeling that this might be relevant to the bells, considering it's well used. And also the book of verses is something you generally try and remember in your head so you can remember the exact code that you need to get into the main temple. The book tends to open to a particular section where someone has marked a verse with a small blotch of ink. Idnung, the bright star, spoke, and her voice was like a clarion cry, calling his soul forth. He knew her for the right hand of the shining god, and was afraid. "O wanderer, hear me," she spoke. "You are known to us, and your deeds put you far from salvation." And he wept, for he knew that his sins lay bare before this great illumination. Then Sargamas spoke, and his voice swept forth with the heat and force of the bright day's sun. "Weep not, for the child of light has forgiven us, even for you, if you will embrace him." Harmke knelt before them, then resolved to save himself, and asked what he must do. And Modagun spoke. Her voice was like the songbird's final hymn, bidding farewell to the day's light. "What darkness lies within you, you must cast into his light. Your sins will be burned from you until you are newly formed, reborn into his keeping." So spoke Modagun, but Idnung warned him, saying, "You have walked all these years into darkness, and must now return. You will find the path like treading fire. At every step you will be tempted to turn away, but no harm will come to you if you keep your faith." So, Idnung, Sargamas, Modgund, Idnung. So, right, right. Cool. Beloved Land, poems from Air Glenfath. That's the tree. Nice. I read that one, huh? And interesting. Monsters of the Deadfire Archipelago, which would be Pillars of Eternity 2. The archipelago winds its way between the Great Eastern Ocean and the Restless Ocean, hundreds of small islands in the midst of the water. Few dare brave its treacherous rapids, and fewer still have returned to tell tales of their adventures through it. Travel between the two oceans is virtually impossible. Great storms hammer any ships foolhardy enough to attempt to navigate, and this alone should be enough to deter anyone from attempting the voyage, as untold ships have gone down, tossed against the rocks. The weather and treacherous rocks are only a precursor to the actual horror of the archipelago, the terrors of the deep. No one knows how many creatures stalk the oceans, waiting for unsuspecting sailors to drift into their waters. But we do know of some. The Barbed Ravager, a giant shark that is known to ram passing vessels, trying to knock sailors off the deck and smash a hole in the hull. It has tremendous spines protruding from its side and back that are presumed to be poisonous. The largest sighted Barbed Ravager, with survivors, was estimated to be almost 30 feet long. Holy shit, that's a giant shark. The Winding Serpent. Smaller around than the Ravager, but potentially longer, the Winding Serpent attacks in small packs, usually 3 to 8. They have long, sharp heads, somewhat reminiscent of a barracuda. Like the Ravager, they repeatedly slam into the side of a ship, hoping to crack a hole in it or knock someone from the deck. They've also been known to swim to the depths and shoot up out of the ocean, landing on the deck, coiling and winding their way around, snapping up any crew they can before plunging back into the ocean. Holy shit! Thalassophobia much? This is horrifying! Leviathan. Imagine the largest whale you have ever seen. The Leviathan is at least 10 times that size. By the time a ship sees a Leviathan, it's already too late. As they rise from the depths, the water around them begins to spin and sink, creating a whirlpool. The Leviathan's body surrounds the hapless vessel, preventing escape, and as it goes down, the enormous mouth opens, pulling all aboard to their watery death. Sick. And the Pulpavir. All the creatures you've read about in this book are nothing compared to the Pulpavir. Barely the size of a man, what they lack in size and strength they make up for in numbers and terrifying viciousness. Their lower halves are a massive tentacles like an octopus or squid, but more numerous. Their tentacles are long, black whips, with suction cups on the underside and small, thorny barbs on the top. The sheer number of tentacles gives them frightening speed when walking on land, pulling themselves forward almost as fast as a running horse. While they vaguely resemble a human from the waist up, any extended examination proves how wrong that assumption is. Long, stringy black hair falls from the tops of their heads to cover a face taken directly from a nightmare. A wide, gaping mouth cuts across the bottom of its head from ear to ear, full of wicked, dagger-like teeth. 2 large, round eyes are sunken into its head, black as coal, shining with a malevolent fire. A small antenna protrudes from the middle of its forehead, adding a small nodule that can glow with an eerie blue light. One can imagine a sailor on the deck of his ship at night, looking out across the black water, blood freezing as countless lights appear beneath the surface, rising towards him as the Pulpavir swim upward. Because they seem to be more octopus than man, they can collapse in on themselves, fitting into spaces no person should be able to. The smallest crack in a hull, the slightest separation between boards offers them entrance. It is not unknown for them to slaughter an entire crew from hold up to deck by infiltrating the ship from underneath. Fortunately, they do not seem to have spread too far outside the archipelago, but there may come a time when Pulpavir attacks become commonplace. That's fucking terrifying! I don't want to play the second game anymore. Jesus Christ.